Building a queryable data lake with Kafka, Iceberg, and ClickHouse. Today we're building a real-time pipeline. Events from Kafka land in Apache Iceberg on S3, and you query them in ClickHouse in under a second. The idea is simple. Query the data where it lives. The problem: Kafka is great for streaming, but it's a log, not a database. Data expires after your retention window, often about a week. So the query of how many signups last Tuesday might already be gone. So the old fix was to use ETL. That's like Spark jobs into a warehouse like Redshift or BigQuery. And that works, but it's expensive, batchy, and you end up with a second copy that can drift from the source. And so Iceberg was built to fix that. So what is Iceberg? Well, Iceberg is a table format on top of S3, like an index in a library. And instead of scanning every file, engines read metadata that says which file exists and how they're partitioned. So the data stays in open formats like Parquet, ORC, Avro, ClickHouse, Spark, DuckDB. Anything that speaks Iceberg can query it directly. You also get schema evolution, time travel, and transactional writes. So let's talk about the architecture. So here's the flow: Kafka, then Kafka Connect, which is our Iceberg sync, then Iceberg on S3, and then ClickHouse. So Connect writes the Parquet into Iceberg, and ClickHouse queries that table in place. The data is written once, and that's what replaces a traditional ETL copy pipeline. We're running this on NetApp Instacluster, a fully managed open source data platform. So why not the Kafka table engine? Well, that's a fair question. ClickHouse can read Kafka directly, but that lands a copy inside of ClickHouse's own storage, readable only by ClickHouse. So that's a warehouse copy by another name, the exact thing that we're trying to avoid. With Iceberg, you keep one open copy on S3 that ClickHouse, Spark, and DuckDB can all query. Same data, no drift, and there's no lock-in. So why Kafka Connect? Well, in production, you need retries, offset tracking, monitoring, and crash recovery. Kafka Connect gives you that. Distributed workers, durable offsets, and the Iceberg syncs exactly once semantics. You describe the pipeline in JSON, and the Connect runs it. Let's talk about building it. Step one, you need the Iceberg table. So we create the table with PyIceberg, the schema, daily partition on event time, catalog and AWS Glue, so that Connect and ClickHouse both see it. And then step two would be to provision on Instacluster. So spin up Kafka first, and the Connect needs it. So for Connect, you need to request the custom connectors. It's gated behind a quick TechOps enablement right now, and then you attach the IAM role for S3. And then for ClickHouse, it's one shard, 3 replicas, all in the same region. And be sure to save the password when it appears, because it's only shown once. And then step 3, you need the connector plus the IAM role. There's no pre-built jar. So you build the Iceberg sync from the Apache repo, upload the unzipped folder to S3, make sure it's unzipped, and then hit sync, wait a few minutes, and then grant the Connect role the 5 S3 glue permissions, create control topics, and then set Kafka ACLs. And then in step 4, you need to produce the events. So deploy the connector with one curl, send 50 events with AIO Kafka for all-in-one Kafka, and then within the first commit interval, you'll see Parquet in S3. And then step 5, query ClickHouse. So you would need to enable S3 access on the cluster. That's because private nodes need a bucket policy. ClickHouse reads Iceberg metadata, fetches only the files that it needs. So run an aggregation. So all of this, you didn't copy data into a warehouse. You made S3 the source of truth, and any engine can query it. Query where the data lives. That's the shift that Iceberg enables. And so in a future video, I'd like to put that same Iceberg data on FSX for NetApp ONTAP through its S3 endpoint. That would be the same open table, but with NetApp storage underneath. NetApp Instacluster is a fully managed platform for open source tech stacks like Kafka, ClickHouse, Cassandra, OpenSearch, and more. It provisions clusters, handles upgrades and operations, and gives you production-ready networking and security. So you can focus on the pipeline, not on running brokers and nodes. If you want to build this pipeline without managing infrastructure, start a free trial on Instacluster. I'll put the link below. Also, supporting scripts and the configs are in the GitHub gist. I'll put that link below as well. We'll see you in the next video.